Hey guys, tonight we step into a world where the morning is just beginning to breathe. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And if you can, let me know in the comments where you're listening from tonight and what time it is for you. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together.
The road beneath your bare, aching feet is dry, uneven, and blistering with heat. Each step stirs up a faint cloud of dust that clings to your skin and tongue, a bitter taste of the road you've traveled. The sun hangs heavy in the pale sky, relentless and glaring, and the air carries the mingled scents of sweat, donkey dung, and the faint sweetness of early spring blossoms that stubbornly bloom along the ditches. You keep your head low as you walk, not wanting to draw the eyes of the passers-by who skirt around you as if you were diseased. They do not know your name. They only know the rumors that you were a thief, a lawbreaker, one who has lived on the wrong side of righteousness. And they are not wrong. The weight of your past clings heavier than the dust, pressing into your chest with every breath. The city of Jerusalem rises before you like a fortress of stone and history. The walls are ancient and proud, their massive gates yawning open to welcome pilgrims arriving for the feast of Passover. But to you, they feel like the mouth of a beast, an opening that will swallow you whole and never let you out again. You hear merchants shouting their wares, the bleating of sheep being driven toward the temple for sacrifice, the laughter of children darting through the legs of travelers. For them, this is a time of joy, of remembrance, of worship. For you, it is the beginning of the end. You are not here by choice. You glance toward the Temple Mount, its gleaming stones catching the sunlight like a beacon. Somewhere beyond those walls, priests prepare offerings, prayers rise like incense, and the people believe they are close to God. You wonder if God can see you now, if he has ever really seen you, or if he has turned his face away. The road bends, and for a moment the gate grows closer. You can almost hear the creak of its hinges, the footsteps echoing in the archway. You know that once you pass through, there will be no turning back. The Roman authorities have decided your fate, and you have heard enough of their sentences to know there will be no mercy. Still, you walk, not because you are brave, but because you have no choice. The dust rises again with each step, coating your tongue until you can hardly swallow. The stones cut into your feet. The walls loom higher, darker, and deep within, a question burns, not about how your life will end, but whether it ever truly began.
The sun blazes overhead, its heat bearing down on your exposed skin. Every breath feels like dragging fire into your lungs, and the splinters of the rough wood pierce deeper into your back with every shudder. The crowd hasn't dispersed. In fact, it's grown. Some stand quietly in the distance, arms folded, their eyes locked on the man beside you. Others shout cruel words, their voices rising and falling like the tide. Soldiers pace back and forth, some chatting idly, others watching for any disturbance. You turn your head again, straining to study him. His eyes are half closed now, lips cracked, blood running in thin streams from wounds that seem too severe for any man to survive. Yet there is something in his presence, an unshaken composure, that unsettles you. It's as though the agony isn't erasing him, but revealing something greater beneath the suffering. The other criminal speaks first, his voice bitter, laced with pain and pride. "Aren't you the Messiah? Save yourself, and us." His words hang in the air, sharp and accusing. You want to shrink away from them, but your body can't move without stabbing pain. The soldiers smirk. Some in the crowd nod, agreeing with the insult. But something in you revolts. You turn to him, your voice cracking under the effort. "Don't you fear God, since you are under the same sentence? We are punished justly, for we are getting what our deeds deserve. But this man has done nothing wrong." You feel the truth of those words burning in you. All your life, you've carried the weight of your crimes. Some you tried to justify, others you knew were evil from the start. And yet here, in these last moments, you see a purity you've never known, a man who should not be here. Your head turns toward him once more, vision blurred, breath shallow. The words come out softer now, not as a demand, but as a plea. "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." For a heartbeat, silence. Then he turns his head toward you, slowly, painfully. His eyes meet yours, and it's as though the world narrows to just the two of you. No crowd, no soldiers, no searing pain, only his gaze, steady and full of something you've never received without condition. "I tell you the truth," he says, voice firm, though faint. "Today, you will be with me in paradise." The words strike deeper than the nails ever could, not as punishment, but as hope. You cling to them as the heat, the noise, and the pain swirl around you. Your chest rises and falls, each breath a battle. But now there's something waiting at the end of it all, something promised by the only man who could make such a promise and mean it. The sound of the crowd roars again, jarring you back from your thoughts. Soldiers shove their way through the people, pushing you and the other man forward. The wood against your back scrapes raw flesh, and you grit your teeth to keep from crying out. The other thief stumbles beside you, spitting curses and insults at the soldiers, his anger a shield against pain. As you are forced toward the place they call Golgotha, the skull, you notice the city's walls falling away behind you. The air changes, cooler, and the smell of dust and blood is sharper here. At the top of the hill, you see 3 upright posts already fixed into the ground, waiting like silent executioners. Then you see him again, Jesus. His steps are slow, but there is no hatred in his face. The soldiers are mocking him, jeering about the so-called King of the Jews. They've twisted thorny branches into a crown and pressed it into his scalp, the barbs drawing thin rivulets of blood down his forehead. You almost want to look away, but something keeps your eyes locked on him. A soldier yanks the crossbeam from your back and throws it to the ground. Another grabs your arm, wrenching it into place. You hear the iron nail strike the first blow into flesh and wood, not yours, but his. The sound alone makes your stomach turn. His body jerks, but he does not cry out in rage. Only a strangled gasp escapes his lips. When your turn comes, you try to brace yourself, but there's no preparing for the fire of pain that explodes through your wrists as the spike drives home. Your scream mingles with the jeers of the crowd and the hollow clang of the hammer. By the time they lift the beam into place, your shoulders burn, your chest strains, and every breath feels like dragging glass into your lungs. You glance to your right. There he is, Jesus, already hanging between earth and sky. He turns his head slightly, eyes finding yours, and for the briefest moment, the chaos fades. Those eyes, they don't hold the cold judgment you've always expected from holy men. They hold something else entirely, something you can't name.
And somehow, in the middle of your agony, you realize you're not just dying beside him. You're witnessing something far greater than the end of your life. The heat presses against you like a heavy blanket. Your parched lips crack when you try to speak, and every breath feels like it drags across sandpaper. Yet somehow, in the middle of your pain, your mind keeps circling back to the man beside you. His face is battered, blood trickling down from the cruel crown of thorns, but his eyes are still calm, steady. You remember the mocking shouts from the soldiers earlier. They had challenged him, "If you are the Son of God, come down from the cross." And yet, he didn't. He could have tried to save himself. Maybe he even had the power to do so, but he chose to stay. And that choice gnaws at you, because you know if it were you, you'd have taken any chance to end the agony. The other criminal keeps cursing him, using every ounce of strength left to spit venom into the air. His voice cuts through the noise, cruel and bitter. "Aren't you the Messiah? Save yourself and us." The sarcasm drips like poison. But something inside you snaps. You turn your head, straining against the nails, the movement tearing fresh pain through your body. You manage to speak, though your voice is ragged. "Don't you fear God?" you rasp, "since you are under the same sentence? We are punished justly. We are getting what our deeds deserve." Your chest heaves from the effort, but this man has done nothing wrong. For a heartbeat, it's quiet, except for the wind and the faint groans from the crowd. You look at him again, not at his wounds, not at the blood, but at his eyes. Jesus. The name feels strange, yet holy on your tongue. "Remember me when you come into your kingdom." And he turns toward you, not in anger, not in pity, but with something you can't quite name. His lips part, and though his voice is weak, every word feels like it was carved into the fabric of eternity. "Truly I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise." Something inside you snaps, not in despair, but in relief. You don't understand everything, but you understand enough. You believe him.
The Roman centurion at the foot of the cross was barking orders to keep the crowd back. You could see the tension in the soldiers' faces. They were used to crucifixions, but this one was different. There was a strange gravity in the air, as if all creation itself were holding its breath. The women near Jesus wept quietly, their sobs carried on the wind. You heard one of them, Mary, you think, murmur prayers through her tears. The other thief beside you groaned, his voice thick with bitterness. "If you're the Messiah," he taunted Jesus, "save yourself and us." His words stabbed at you. Even now, with death crawling closer, he was clinging to his anger, his disbelief. You felt something in you snap, not in rage, but in sorrow. "Don't you fear God," you said, your voice hoarse but firm. "Since you are under the same sentence? We are punished justly, for we are getting what our deeds deserve. But this man has done nothing wrong." The words surprised you as you were speaking them. For the first time in your life, you weren't making excuses for your sins. You weren't blaming anyone else. You saw yourself clearly, a thief, a sinner, a man who had wasted his life. And yet you saw him clearly too, spotless, undeserving of this death, and somehow, impossibly, the one who could still save you. You turned your head toward him, every muscle screaming in pain with the effort. Your eyes met his. In that moment, it felt as if he saw every vile thing you had ever done and chose to love you still. "Jesus," you whispered, "remember me when you come into your kingdom." He looked at you, and in his eyes there was no condemnation, only mercy so deep it felt like the weight of your chains falling away. And then he spoke, "Truly I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise." The words sank into you like water into parched ground. Paradise, today, with him. You closed your eyes for a moment, letting them wrap around your weary soul. The pain was still there, the crowd still jeered, the nails still tore at your flesh, but somehow it all seemed smaller now, because he had spoken and you believed him.
The hours pass slowly, each moment etched in sharp detail as you hang from the cross. You hear the jeers of some in the crowd, voices mingling together in mockery of Jesus. "If you are the King of the Jews, save yourself," they taunt. A sign nailed above his head reads, "This is the King of the Jews." You squint at it through stinging sweat, the words hitting you in a strange way. Beside you, the other criminal hurls insults at him too, as though his own pain can be dulled by lashing out. "Aren't you the Messiah? Save yourself and us." His voice is bitter, raw. You feel something rise up inside you, not bitterness, but shame. The injustice of it all overwhelms you. "Don't you fear God?" you manage to rasp, your voice hoarse, "since you are under the same sentence?" You pause to draw in what little air your lungs can manage. "We are punished justly, for we are getting what our deeds deserve. But this man has done nothing wrong." You turn your head toward Jesus. The movement hurts, but you have to see him. In the midst of your agony, you notice his face, not twisted with rage or panic, but filled with something you can only describe as unshakable peace. It unnerves you and comforts you all at once. A desperate thought forms in your mind. You don't know exactly why you believe he can help you, but you believe it all the same. "Jesus," you whisper through trembling lips, "remember me when you come into your kingdom." He turns his head toward you, his eyes locking onto yours. They are not the eyes of a man defeated, but of a king reigning even here, in the place of death. His words cut through the chaos and pain like a warm light breaking into the cold. "Truly I tell you," he says, his voice steady, "today you will be with me in paradise." For the first time in a long time, you feel something like hope, deep, soul-sure hope, take root within you. The agony doesn't vanish, but it is no longer the only thing you feel.
The sky, once bright, begins to shift. A strange gloom rolls in, dimming the light until midday feels like night. The murmurs of the crowd grow uneasy. Even the soldiers glance at one another. You sense something is happening, something far beyond the ordinary. Your chest burns with every shallow breath. Your legs tremble, struggling to hold you up, but the ropes and nails keep you fixed in place. In the distance, you hear the faint sobbing of women. One of them seems to cry out his name. You look toward Jesus. His head is bowed now, but even in his suffering, there's a quiet strength radiating from him. The other criminal has gone silent, his anger spent, replaced by labored breathing. The darkness deepens. The air feels heavy, charged. It's as if the earth itself is holding its breath. Then you hear him cry out with a voice that cuts through the stillness, my God, why have you forsaken me?" The words pierce your heart. You don't fully understand them, but you feel the weight in them, the depth of anguish that surpasses even your own. Minutes, or maybe hours, pass in this strange shadow. Your body screams for relief, but your mind keeps returning to his promise. Today you will be with me in paradise. You cling to it like a man holding a rope in a storm. Then, after a long silence, you hear his voice again, weaker now, but filled with finality. It is finished. The ground trembles beneath your feet. Rocks crack. The sound of splitting stone echoes through the air. You don't know if it's fear or awe coursing through you, perhaps both. Finally, you hear him speak once more, this time like a son surrendering to a beloved father. Father, into your hands I commit my spirit. His head falls forward. His body hangs still. In that moment you know the King has laid down his life. And somehow, deep inside, you believe your journey with him has only just begun.
Your arms and legs feel numb now, not from relief, but from the slow shutting down of your body. Each breath is a battle, and each heartbeat feels weaker than the last. The darkness still lingers in the sky, but your thoughts are no longer on the crowd, the soldiers, or even your pain. You keep replaying his words in your mind. Today you will be with me in paradise. It's strange, you, a condemned man, feeling hope on the brink of death. But the certainty in his voice still lingers in your soul, cutting through the haze of suffering. The minutes crawl by. You hear the shuffle of soldiers' feet as they go to the other criminal beside you. There's a loud crack, followed by a guttural scream. They've broken his legs to hasten his death. Your stomach twists. You know you're next. A soldier steps toward you, his face impassive. The strike comes swift, a crushing blow that steals your breath. You gasp, but instead of panic, a strange calm spreads through you. Your vision begins to blur. Your head slumps forward, and for the first time since the cross was raised, the pain begins to fade. The shouts of the crowd grow faint, the pounding of your heart softer. And then you feel something. Warmth. Light. A presence that's more real than the wood and nails that held you moments ago. You lift your gaze, and there he is. No longer bruised, no longer bleeding, but radiant, whole, and smiling. I told you. Today. You look around and see beauty beyond anything your earthly eyes could have imagined. Colors richer than jewels, air that feels alive. There's no more pain, no more shame, no more chains. You take a step toward him, and he places his hand on your shoulder, the same shoulder that bore the weight of your crimes. But here, there is only freedom. And you realize the journey that began on a cross has led you home.
Your bare feet touch the ground, but it's nothing like the dust and rocks of the earth. It feels alive, soft, almost like it's welcoming you. Every breath you take fills you with a strength you've never known. The aches, the wounds, the weakness of your old body, they're all gone. You glance down and realize your hands are clean. The stains, the grime, even the scars from the nails are no longer there. You run your fingers over your palms in disbelief, as if touching them will confirm this isn't just some dying vision. In the distance, there's a river. Its surface so clear you can see every stone beneath. The sound of its flowing water is like music, each ripple carrying a melody that stirs something deep inside you. You've never heard anything so pure. And then you hear it. Laughter. Not mocking, not cruel, but warm, like the sound of home after a long journey. You turn and see people coming toward you. Some faces you've never seen before, others strangely familiar. They greet you as if you've always belonged here. You walk beside him now, the one you defended when everyone else mocked him, the one who turned to you, a dying criminal, and spoke life into your darkness. He leads you to a wide field, filled with light that seems to come from everywhere. There's no sun, no shadow, only this perfect glow that wraps around you like the embrace of someone who's missed you for a very long time. For the first time in your life, you feel no hunger, no fear, no guilt. Every question you had is answered without a word, because here, you simply know. You belong. And you think back to that final moment on the cross, the soldier's blow, the fading heartbeat, and realize it was not an ending. It was the doorway. You begin to notice that the people around you are not strangers at all. Somehow, their faces feel written into your soul, as if you've known them forever, even though you have no memory of meeting them before. Their eyes carry the same light you see in his, a reflection of the place you now stand in. A child runs past you, laughing, their joy spilling into the air like music. You can't help but smile. You feel no bitterness here, no weight of suspicion. In the world you came from, such laughter would have felt out of place, too fragile for reality. But here, joy isn't fragile. It's the air itself. You hear voices singing, not from one place, but from all around. The harmonies flow through you, as if every note knows your story, your pain, and your redemption. You realize the voices belong to those who, like you, were rescued by him, each one a testimony made into a song. Jesus turns to you with a look that makes your knees feel weak, though not from fear. It's the kind of look that says, "I told you I would bring you here." He gestures toward the river. "Come," he says softly, "there's more I want you to see." You follow him to its edge, and as you look into the water, you see moments of your life, not the worst of them, but the small, almost forgotten choices, the times you could have done worse, but didn't. The moments you almost believed there could be something more. And you understand now. He saw them too. Suddenly, the river swells with light, and you realize it's not just water, it's life itself. The more you look, the more you feel yourself being filled with something you didn't know was missing, even in this perfect place. You step in without hesitation. The water embraces you, washing away not dirt or wounds, for those are already gone, but every last trace of shame that tried to cling to you. When you rise from it, the others are waiting on the far bank. Their faces shine brighter, and yours, you realize, must look the same. As you step out of the river, warmth envelops you, not just from the sun above, but from the gathering of people ahead. They are smiling, their faces radiant, and the air hums with expectation. You sense that something, or someone, is waiting for you. Jesus walks beside you, his presence so near that every step feels guided. Ahead, a small group begins to emerge from the light, walking toward you with purpose. Your heart begins to race, not from fear, but from a sudden deep knowing. The first figure you recognize instantly, though you never thought you'd see them again. Tears blur your vision. It's someone you lost long ago, a person whose absence left a hollow space in your life. They are whole now, shining with the same eternal light that fills this place. You run to them without thinking. There are no awkward greetings, no fumbling for words. Your arms wrap around each other in an embrace that speaks of everything you ever wanted to say but couldn't. There is no pain in remembering the time you lost. Here, there is only the joy of having them back forever. One by one, more familiar faces appear. A friend who once prayed for you. A family member who never stopped believing you could change, even when you didn't believe it yourself. You realize with a jolt that some of these people you only knew briefly in life, yet their impact on you was eternal, and now you see the truth of it. In the midst of it all, Jesus stands quietly, watching with a smile. You understand now why he wanted you to see this. Heaven is not just about where you are, but about who you are with. Every person here is part of a story that was being written long before you knew it existed. And then you notice something unexpected. Standing just behind the group is someone you would never have imagined seeing here. The sight makes you pause, unsure how to feel. Jesus places a hand on your shoulder, his voice gentle. Yes, he says, already knowing your thoughts. Grace reached them too. You realize in that moment that heaven is bigger than your understanding, and mercy runs deeper than you ever dreamed.
The light shifts around you, becoming softer, as if guiding you toward another place. Jesus begins walking again, and without hesitation, you follow. The air here carries a fragrance unlike anything you've known. Not flowers, not spices, but something richer, as though joy itself had a scent. You arrive at a vast hall that seems carved from living light. Its pillars rise high into the sky, and each one gleams with what looks like woven threads of gold and silver. But as you draw nearer, you realize they are not threads at all. They are stories. The walls and pillars pulse gently, each strand revealing scenes from lives you have touched. You see moments you never thought mattered. The kindness you showed a stranger, the encouraging word you offered to a friend when they were near despair, the quiet prayers you whispered when no one was looking. And you see the ripple effect. One act of mercy you thought was forgotten had traveled across years and continents, touching hearts you never met. A simple word of truth had sparked a chain reaction of hope that carried far beyond your lifetime. Your knees go weak as you watch, overwhelmed. All the times you felt invisible, all the seasons you thought were wasted, none of them were. Here, nothing is lost. Nothing is wasted. Jesus steps beside you and gestures toward one particularly bright thread, glowing so intensely that it seems almost alive. This, he says, is the moment you spoke to me from the cross. You didn't see it then, but your surrender that day has drawn many into my kingdom. People you have never met came to believe because of what happened between us. You gasp as the scene unfolds, your final moments on the cross, the desperation in your heart, the turning of your eyes toward him, and then the unexplainable peace when he spoke those words, "Today you will be with me in paradise." That one moment has been told, retold, and lived out in countless lives through the centuries. You realize the weight of it, not shame, but a holy awe. You had thought your story ended in failure, but here you see that your redemption has become part of heaven's eternal tapestry. Tears stream down your face, but they are not of regret. They are of wonder. And as you stand there, the threads on the pillars begin to shift again, revealing something you did not expect, the part of the story that has not yet been told. The Roman soldiers have finished their grim work. Your body aches with every shallow breath. Sweat and blood sting your eyes, but you can barely muster the energy to blink. Around you, the crowd's shouting has dimmed to a low hum, as though the whole world is holding its breath. You glance toward Jesus. His head hangs low, but his presence still radiates something beyond this brutal moment. It's not weakness, but it's a quiet, unshakable strength. You remember his earlier words to the women who mourned for him, telling them not to weep for him, but for themselves. Even in his suffering, his concern is for others. One of the criminals beside him hurls insults, mocking the idea that Jesus could save himself or you, but the words leave a sour taste in your mouth. In this moment, mocking seems absurd, like kicking at the one person who could actually help. With the last of your strength, You rebuke the other thief. "Don't you fear God?" you ask, your voice hoarse. "We're here justly. We're getting what we deserve. But this man has done nothing wrong." Then you turn to Jesus. Your words are barely more than a whisper. "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." He lifts his head, meets your gaze, and in that moment the noise and pain fade into the background. His voice is soft but certain. "Truly I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise." It's as if those words carve through the darkness, planting a seed of hope so deep it cannot be touched by death. You don't know how it will happen, but you know that somehow this is not the end.
Time feels strange now. Moments stretch and blur, yet everything is moving toward a single inevitable conclusion. The pain has dulled into a heavy, suffocating weight. Each breath is a battle, but your mind keeps returning to His promise. Today you will be with me in paradise. You watch as Jesus struggles to speak again, his words directed toward his mother and the disciple John. Even in the shadow of death, his thoughts are on love and care, making sure his mother will not be alone. Darkness begins to creep across the sky, unnatural and heavy. The earth feels tense, as though creation itself is grieving. Then, after hours of agony, Jesus cries out, "It is finished," and gives up his spirit. The ground trembles violently beneath you. You hear the gasp of the centurion standing nearby, his voice filled with awe. Surely this was the Son of God. Your own strength is nearly gone now. The soldiers move methodically, breaking the legs of the other man to hasten death. But when they reach Jesus, he is already gone. A spear pierces his side, and blood and water flow out. The light in your eyes begins to dim. Your thoughts drift, not to the pain, not to the crowd, but to the promise. You imagine a place with no crosses, no chains, no shame. You see a light that seems to welcome you, warm and pure. Your final breath leaves your body and you step into that promised place. The first thing you see is Him, whole, radiant, smiling as though all the suffering was worth it just to bring you here. The air is still now. The noise of the crowd has faded into a distant hum, like the memory of a storm long past. The struggle, the pain, the heaviness, they are no longer here. All that remains is a quiet, endless peace. You feel weightless, as though the burden you carried all your life has simply slipped away. The ache in your body is gone. The tightness in your chest has eased. You are no longer bound to the wood of the cross, no longer trapped in the final moments of a broken world. Instead, you're standing in a place bathed in a warm, golden light. It's soft, not blinding, not harsh, just enough to make everything shimmer. There is no heat from this light, no burning, only a steady warmth that wraps around you like a familiar blanket on a cool night. You take a breath, and the air is fresh and sweet. Each inhale fills your lungs with something more than oxygen. It feels like life itself. You let it out slowly, and your shoulders loosen. Far ahead, you see Him, the same face you saw in those final moments, calm, steady, filled with compassion, only now there is no strain, no pain in His eyes. He smiles
as though he has been waiting just for you. You take a step forward, and the ground beneath your feet feels soft, like walking across a meadow in spring. Each step is effortless. The scent of blooming flowers drifts through the air, carried on a gentle breeze. It's the kind of breeze that seems to whisper your name, reminding you that you are safe. As you draw nearer, you hear a voice, not from beside you, not from in front of you, but from all around. It's his voice, steady and sure. You're home now. Something inside you settles. Every worry, every memory of the world's cruelty, every unanswered question fades. What matters now is this moment, this place, this eternal stillness. You notice the sound of water nearby. A stream flows gently over smooth stones, the kind of sound that could lull you into rest if you let it. The water catches the light, scattering it like diamonds across the banks. You sit down by the stream. The grass is cool beneath you, the air is calm, and you feel no urgency to move. You simply exist here, in the peace you never knew you needed so much. You lean back, letting your eyes drift shut. The light still rests on your skin, warm and steady. The sound of the water and the breeze become a slow, gentle rhythm, like a lullaby written just for you. And as your breathing deepens, your body sinks further into comfort. The world around you fades, not into darkness, but into a soft, endless light. Here, there is no fear, no pain, no time passing. Only rest, only peace, and in that peace, you sleep.